The energy at BravoCon 2025 was high when the McBee dynasty, real American Cowboys star Stephen McBee Jr. stopped by to talk about life, love, and everything in between. While the Missouri rancher has stepped into a new chapter with social media creator Allie Akeland, fans were eager to know how he feels about his past relationship with Calah Jackson, a storyline that unfolded on national television over 2 dramatic seasons. Speaking with B and B during the event, Stephen shared that he has completely stepped back from any responsibilities or involvement tied to his former partner. He emphasized that their chapter had already reached its natural conclusion long before BravoCon. "Things have been finalized for a good while now," he said, noting that he hasn't spoken to Calah since everything ended. Even so, he expressed genuine goodwill toward her, saying he hopes she finds happiness and success in everything she pursues. What fans saw over 2 seasons. Viewers watched Stephen and Calah's 3-year relationship rise and fall during seasons 1 and 2 of the hit show. The couple faced challenges from the start, including tense interactions with some of Stephen's family members. Calah struggled to form a bond with his father, and season 2 brought even more friction when misunderstandings and disagreements grew harder to ignore. One particularly tense moment came during an argument between Calah and Stephen's brother, Cole, during a trip to the Ozarks. The fallout from that conflict became a turning point, leaving both Stephen and Calah reconsidering their future. By the time Calah chose not to attend a family wedding, a moment that caught even production off guard, their relationship had already begun to falter. After filming wrapped, Stephen explained that watching the season later brought back difficult emotions, making it challenging to maintain communication. Still, he reflected warmly on the good moments they shared, saying their history included meaningful experiences that he respects to this day. A new love, Stephen and Allie Akeland. In early November, Stephen went public with his new relationship, posting photos of himself and Allie Akeland on social media. The announcement sparked excitement among fans, and even more among his family. According to Stephen, Allie quickly became a beloved presence in the McBee household. "She's been such a positive influence," Stephen said. "It's been a completely different experience dating someone who blends in with my family so naturally." He laughed while admitting that his mom may already be Allie's biggest supporter. "They talk all the time," he joked. "Honestly, I think they text more than I do." Stephen described his new relationship as peaceful, comfortable, and filled with a sense of certainty he hadn't felt before. Where Calah is today. After the season 2 finale, Calah returned to her hometown of Dallas, choosing to focus on a fresh start. She's continued exploring her artistic passions, often showcasing her work at a local gallery and traveling for creative inspiration. In recent months, she's also attended major film events and enjoyed celebratory trips with friends. During an interview last summer, Calah reflected on how much she learned from her relationship with Stephen. "Watching the episodes back gave her new clarity," she explained. "Seeing her past emotional responses on screen was challenging, but it also helped her understand where she grew and where she needed to set new boundaries." As BravoCon 2025 buzzed with excitement, Stephen McBee Jr. found himself navigating an unusual mix of nostalgia and newfound peace. Seeing fans who had followed his journey from the show's earliest days brought back a flood of memories, some heartfelt, some challenging, and some he admitted he's still processing. Yet through it all, one thing became clear: he's learned more about himself in the past 2 years than at any other time in his life. After wrapping his panel appearance, Stephen took a moment backstage to reflect on how drastically his circumstances had shifted. When season 1 premiered, he was still finding his place in the family business while juggling a complicated relationship with Calah. Today, he's standing in a steady partnership with Allie Akeland. His family ranch is thriving, and he's preparing for opportunities that didn't even exist a couple of years ago. a newfound confidence. One thing that stood out to those around him was Steven's calm demeanor, something fans may not have always associated with him in earlier seasons. Back then, he was often caught between long hours on the ranch, tension among family members, and the pressure of keeping a relationship afloat while being filmed. Now, Steven says he's finally learned to slow down and trust himself. Back when everything was happening with Calah, I didn't always think before reacting, he admitted. It felt like life was moving so fast, the show, the ranch, my relationships. It took stepping away from certain things to finally understand what I needed. That pause, he believes, paved the way for the healthier, happier life he's living today. Ali, he said, has played a huge role in that. When someone brings peace into your life instead of chaos, it changes everything, Steven explained. It's helped me figure out what matters most and what I want moving forward. Inside the McBee family dynamics. Fans of the McBee dynasty know that family dynamics are at the center of nearly every storyline. Steven's father, Steve McBee Sr., has always been outspoken and protective of the family legacy. Meanwhile, his mother, Christy, has been candid about her concerns, especially when she felt her sons weren't making the best choices. While the family didn't always agree on Steven's relationship with Calah, he insists there was never any disrespect toward her. Instead, he believes it came from a place of wanting to protect him from heartbreak. My family saw me struggling, even before I did, he said. Sometimes you need people who love you to point out things you don't want to admit. Now that Ali has stepped into Steven's life, the dynamic has shifted. She and Christy quickly bonded over shared interests, from horses to travel to photography. Steven joked that the two are inseparable. It's honestly hilarious, he said with a smile. I'll walk into the kitchen, and they're sitting there drinking coffee and talking about everything under the sun. I'm like, did I get replaced? But what makes him happiest is seeing the harmony that has returned to the McBee home. Peace at the dinner table is something I don't take for granted, he added. Calah's growth and independence. Meanwhile, Calah has been creating a new life that's entirely her own. After leaving Missouri and returning to Dallas, she poured her focus into her art. Friends say she's reconnecting with the parts of herself she set aside during filming and rediscovering passions she had almost forgotten. At the gallery where she now showcases her paintings, Calah has found a supportive community that admires her creativity and dedication. Several of her pieces were recently featured at a regional art event, marking the first time she presented her work so publicly. The positive response gave her the confidence she needed to continue pursuing her artistic path. Travel has also become a big part of her journey. She has visited major art festivals, spent time in different cities, and taken trips with close friends. One friend shared that Calah has been the happiest and most free they've seen her in years. Though she doesn't speak publicly about Steven often, the times she has, she remains respectful and insightful. She recognizes that while their relationship shaped an important period of her life, it also helped her understand her own needs more clearly. She's learning how to show up for herself in ways she didn't before, a friend shared recently. It's been empowering to watch. Looking toward the future of the McBee dynasty. Unsurprisingly, fans at BravoCon were eager to know what the future holds for both Steven and the show itself. Rumors have circulated about a season 3, especially as the McBee brothers step into new life phases, engagements, business ventures, and personal growth. Steven hinted that there may be developments on the horizon, but stopped short of confirming anything. I love sharing our story, he said, but there's a lot to consider. My life is in a much different place now. If we do continue, I want it to reflect that growth, not just the drama. His parents echoed similar thoughts during their panel discussion, noting that they're proud of how far their family has come but are mindful of the pressure television places on their relationships. We've all had to reevaluate at some point, Steven said. You want to be authentic, but you also want to protect the people you care about. Steven and Allie, what comes next? As for Steven and Allie, fans can expect their relationship to continue blossoming. The two have been spotted at various events together, from charity rodeos to family gatherings. Allie has even expressed interest in learning more about ranch life, a prospect that Steven finds exciting. "We've talked about the future," he said thoughtfully. "Right now, we're just enjoying the ride. I don't want to rush anything, but I've never felt this grounded." Allie, on her end, seems equally enthusiastic about the path they are on. Friends describe her as supportive, humble, and genuinely invested in the McBee family's world. "It's not about attention for her," Steven said. "She just wants to be part of my life, the good, the hard, all of it."